of it. Heard on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. and repeated on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. Brought to you by UHealth International, University of Miami Health System. International patients go to UHealth International for consultations with renowned physicians, advanced treatment technologies, leading-edge medical therapies, and state-of-the-art surgical procedures. Whatever your particular reason for going to UHealth International, you will receive customized medical care delivered within a compassionate, multicultural setting. The care you need when you need it. For the record, proudly brought to you by
Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury, and JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Kirk Market. Experience a world of choice.
We ask our listeners and viewers to avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Live from Radio Cayman Studio.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the Record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
With Orrett Connor.
Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is For the Record.
For the Record. 1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees so fair. Today is Wednesday, the 8th day of January 2025, right here in the beautiful Cayman Islands. We do hope and we trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable evening. Those of you who are on our roads, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or if you're operating any type of motorized vehicle, we again urge you to please, please, please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Remember, the life you save may be your own. Also remember, our schools are now open. Our precious ones are on the roads, so you need to ensure that you again observe all of the rules, the laws, the protocols involving school buses. But not only school buses, it may be a family member dropping off a child. So, you know what? If you simply observe the rules of the road, first of all, if you know the rules of the road and if you observe them, then you really don't have to be reminded, well, in this particular situation, here's what you should do, or in that particular situation, here's what you should do, because you should know what to do in every situation. So again, please do that. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday, or if you've celebrated one over the past few days, a belated happy birthday to you as well. And to remind you that For the Record birthday shoutouts brought to you by Coca-Cola, who are proud to support your birthday shoutouts. Coca-Cola available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga wholesalers. You should accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Those of you who have lost loved ones, and we know several families have lost loved ones over the past few days, past few weeks as well, and we want to extend our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these extremely challenging times, and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing. Those of you who are ill and are either at home or at a medical facility here in the Cayman Islands or overseas, we want to wish you a speedy recovery. And again, we want to give a big shout out to our colleague here at Radio Cayman, DJ Lynn, for a speedy recovery as well. And I will take this opportunity to wish a family member of mine, my sister, Arlene Campbell, speedy recovery from her 7.5-hour surgery yesterday as well. I want to wish her a speedy recovery also. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman over the years, and in particular, for the record, into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I have had the privilege of being your host. My name is Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. We have a toll-free number provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. Two other landlines, 949-8037 and 949-6990. A WhatsApp number, 925-3261. And you can send us messages there as well as call in. We can only accommodate one caller at a time. And of course, you can follow us on YouTube. You do that by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. And we're on Facebook as well. Now, as I said on Monday, Radio Cayman, we wouldn't be what we are today. And For the Record wouldn't be what it is today without the support of our dedicated audience. Those of you out there who believe in Radio Cayman, trust the news that you're getting from Radio Cayman, rely on Radio Cayman for news and additional information, be it community-minded efforts on our bulletin board, whatever. Another aspect of Radio Cayman, and in particular For the Record and Talk Today with Sterling Drain Ebanks, it's the quality of the guests that we have in the studio. In the past, I have referred to Dr. Steve McField, as my co-host. And in the past, I remember in the summer when I, in South Carolina, get up early in the morning and listen, because Dr. Steve McField also would guest host for me. But more than that, Dr. McField is our resident historian. He is and I stand to be corrected, and I'll let him, correct me on this if need be, the longest serving member of the bar in the Cayman Islands, as well. He's a respected authority on constitutional issues, on criminal matters, and many others as well. So we are extremely proud to have Dr. McField on our show whenever it is possible. And I know that from the feedback that I receive from our audience, either live on air or when they see me otherwise talking, about the knowledge and the information that is dispersed by Dr. Steve McField to our listening audience. So again, it is my pleasure to have him in the studio with me this morning. He's an icon within the Cayman Islands, and we need to continue to respect him, to value what he brings to the table, and to honor him while he is still with us. So with that, Dr. McField, good morning, sir. Welcome to For the Record.
Thank you, Mr. For the Record, and thank you for those great accolades, and good morning to all your listeners in For the Record land, and those in the Cayman diaspora, and those who listen to you Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. It's good to be back with you in 2025. It's a new year. I hope it's not the same old theme, but it's the new year.
Yes.
And thank you for all of those great things you say about me. I don't know if I can live up to all of them, but thank you very much.
You already have.
Thank you very much. And following that introduction, I would like to publicly send my condolences to a great family, the loss of one of their loved ones, and a friend a person who was like a brother to me and a confidant, Mr. Charlie Watler.
Yes.
Charlie passed some weeks ago. I think the funeral is on the 18th of this month.
At the
And
United Church. Yeah.
yes, I remember when the then Honorable Minister of Border Control and Immigration asked me to chair the Permanent Residence and Caymanian Status Board. I made it quite clear to him that I was not going to accept the position unless I had Charlie by my side. It's a stalwart Caymanian. He puts his family and his country first, and he has done a tremendous job in uplifting Caymanians and training and making sure before people come into the island to work, or when they come into the island to work, that employers train up Caymanians and make sure that they got positions that they deserved.
Yeah, and his service on the immigration board goes back to the 80s when he was the deputy
70s.
for
To the 70s.
70s. Okay.
Yeah.
And he was the also the deputy chair to
Mr. Panton.
national hero, Mr. Orman Panton.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Okay, before we go to the commercial break, the birthday shout-outs brought to you by Coca-Cola. They are proud to support your birthday shout-outs. Coca-Cola available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Wholesalers. You should accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. So today we have been asked to send out birthday shout-outs to, and these are coming from Miss Marva, to her nephew, Michael Edwards, and also to his brother, Jojo, who Michael is celebrating his birthday today. His brother, Jojo, celebrated his birthday on Sunday, and he resides in the United Kingdom. Also, today's birthdays, we see Ms. Joanna Brown at Celebrations celebrating her birthday, and tomorrow, Paul Blessed Love Watson will be celebrating his birthday. Folks, if you know someone who's celebrating a birthday or any other momentous occasion, please share that information with us, and we will give them a big shout out here on For the Record. Proudly brought to you by Coca-Cola. They are proud to support your birthday shout outs. Coca-Cola available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Wholesalers. You should accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. We're going to go to a commercial break. When we return, we know that there is a particular ceremonial event that is taking place this morning, the opening of our Grand Court, and we're going to talk with Dr. Steve McField about that a little. Some of you may wonder, well, opening of the Grand Court, longest serving member of the bar here in the Cayman Islands. Why is he here rather than there? And he will tell you about that. So if you want a little bit, even though I say not a whole lot of sus here on For the Record, and it is not sus, it's coming directly from Dr. McField, and he will share with you honestly and candidly why he is not there today. Folks, please stay tuned for The Record. We'll be back shortly.
Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, he hath founded it upon the seas.
Commissioner Hurst was noted for many achievements during his tenure, including the increase in road infrastructure, the establishment of the Government Savings Bank, and the modernization of the police force, amongst others. However, he was equally noted for his abrasive demeanor and conflicts with the local vestrymen. This conflict came to a head in November 1909 during the meeting of the magistrates and vestry. C.J.H. Goring, an appointed justice from Barbados who settled in Grand Cayman in 1901, publicly challenged Commissioner Hurst Hearst and complained of his behavior. Not to be outmatched, however, the commissioner responded, and upon adjournment of the session, he lectured the assembly, telling them that the attack by Justice Goring was an insult to his office. He further admonished Mr. Goring and his followers to, quote, fear God and honor the king. Information from this historical vignette was sourced from Founded Upon the Seas, A History of the Cayman Islands and Their People by Michael Creighton and the New History Committee.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way, positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
There you go, sir. Thanks for choosing JN Money Transfer.
Boy, thanks to JN Money Transfer, I can stay right here in Cayman and pay mama bills back home in Jamaica. Her water, light, phone, and other bills never late. Every month I pay everything in one place.
Make payments to over 30 companies in Jamaica through JN Money Transfer. Fast, affordable, convenient. Call 1-800-744-1163 for details.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget. Our custom closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
This is For the Record.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. My pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning Cayman's icon, Dr. Steve McField. So we're going to talk a little bit about the opening of the Grand Court. And I have gone to the judicial website, and it talks about what it says here about the Grand Court, that apart from when it sits as an appellate court from the lower courts or other tribunals, which usually statutory, quasi-judicial, this court, the Grand Court, is a superior court of record of first instance, and we'll get Dr. McField to explain that to us, having unlimited jurisdiction in both criminal and civil matters. As such, it exercises within the Cayman Islands similar jurisdiction as is vested in or capable of being exercised in England by Her Majesty's High Court of Justice and its divisional courts. Judges of the Grand Court are appointed from amongst persons who must have same qualifications as are required for appointment to the English High Court of Justice or courts of equivalent jurisdiction throughout the Commonwealth of Nations. The Grand Court was first created as a court of special limited jurisdiction by statute in 1877. In its present modern form, the Grand Court was established by the Grand Court Law of 1975 and enshrined in as a constitutional court in 1984. The Chief Justice has responsibility for all matters arising in judicature. By this means and by the other statutory and constitutional processes which establish and separate the courts from the legislative and executive arms of government, the separation of powers and the independence of the judiciary is formalized. So I'll end there, Doc, and get you to now.
Very interesting. As you can see, the Grand Court first began over 100 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it got its jurisdiction through Jamaica, through the Jamaica court, through the Jamaica legislature as a superior court.
Mm-hmm.
We now call it a court of first instance.
Okay.
Under the British laws, because it's similar to the High Court in England. Similar to the High Court in England. Now, that means that the Grand Court started in the old colonial era.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When the police and the courts were almost synonymous with each other. They were the same. And for those who are old enough to remember, the Grand Court met twice a year. When Jamaica judges and lawyers came down twice a year to hold the Grand Court in the town hall.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the police then ran the courts. It was the police that ran the courts. The Grand Court has moved on, has modernized itself, but it still carries this old relic of the police being involved in the judicial system. Now, when I came back from law school and I was clerk of the courts, we had the first incident with the police in the courts that came to my attention. It was a case with the Queen against Carl Brandon. And when I sent out the writ to bring the jurors into the Grand Court to hear the case, the bailiff of the Grand Court then was Chief Inspector Ebanks. Vernon Ebanks.
Mm-hmm.
And what they did, they marked off 14 names from the list of jurors and said that the police was objecting to them being jurors. Did you know that?
No, for some.
And the judge then was Judge Fields from Barbados.
Okay.
And he and I stood up a ground and said I wrote them and I said I knew of no law. I know of no provision in the judicature law that allows you to add or subtract any name from the list of jurors that we sent for you to summons. And we wrote then to the powers that be. And we said we were not going to continue in the position we were unless he was removed as bailiff of the Grand Court. And they appointed trial and me leave it from the police force to become the bailiff of the Grand Court under the Grand Court rules.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the police was out of the police was not actually out of the court. The police was still in court, calling out names and taking part in the judicial system.
Mm-hmm.
And we objected to that. So when I was president of the Bar Association, we objected to that strongly and said the police had no presence in the Grand Court, in the court system in Cayman, that he was a participant just like every other plaintiff or defendant.
Yeah, an interested party.
It's a trusted party.
Okay.
But today it still continues with the opening of the Grand Court with the Chief Justice and the police guard of honor.
Mm-hmm. And you believe that whether in just the mere appearance of it,
it should go. The court system now is run by marshals of the court. It should not be the chief justice out there examining the police force, because we're not in that era any longer. Although we try to continue that old dominant system from the colonial era, we have passed that. We have walked on, and that's one of the reasons why I don't go to the openings, because I don't think it's relevant today for Cayman.
Now, there are still some jurisdictions in the Eastern Caribbean where we also see senior police officers prosecuting cases as well.
That should not be.
What's your view on that?
That should not be. Police officers should not be prosecuting cases when they have an interest in a case in court. I'm appalled that still continues when we have a DPP apartment, and we have a Solicitor General's apartment to prosecute civil cases on behalf of the government, and we have the DPP to prosecute cases on behalf of the Crown. It shouldn't be the police inside there.
So we have done away. We have gotten past that.
We have gotten past that, yes. Yeah. But we still maintain this old relic of every time the Grand Court opens, we bring the police out to show their force and to show their strength and to show how they're connected to the courts. They should not be connected to the court system. And that's one of the reasons why I used to go there. I had to go there when I was president of the Bar Association, because you had to reply. The bar president and the attorney general had to reply to the chief justice's speech, address, we call it, in the court, and you had to reply to that. That's the only reason why I went there when I had to. But I thought that old relic should just walk out of the system, and it's not necessary, because it still says that the police has a presence within the court system, and the chief justice goes out there to examine them, how they look, and so forth. I don't believe that we should continue that at all. But I'm just a minority, and
so do you believe that it would take a real progressive chief justice to to change that? We have seen our current chief justice coming up through the ranks and have made substantial changes, many of them positive, as far as the judiciary is concerned, the drug courts and all of those things. Do you think that our current chief justice is progressive enough to advocate for such a change?
Yeah, I'm not criticizing the chief justice.
I know, no, I understand. Yeah,
but she's one of the people I have great admiration for. I have great admiration for her, and she is a great lady, a lady of justice, and I think maybe she may consider that, and I hope that she does consider that to be an old relic and to move on from that. Now.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to pause there for me, Doc, because we have to go to the 8 o'clock news. But when we return, we're going to continue to have you opine on this subject. Those of you who have an interest, especially if you're in the legal profession, we know some of you may not want to opine publicly, but there are some who may as well. We invite you to join us when we return from the 8 o'clock news. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Your time check now, 8:01. This time check brought to you by our friends at Foster's.
When you're on the go, let the Island Supermarket shop for you.
To start, head to fosters.ky/go.
Then shop all your favorite products online, from produce and seafood to grocery and frozen, all picked by our team of shoppers ready to go.
Choose next day curbside pickup from Foster's Camana Bay or delivery island-wide.
To get your order started, visit fosters.ky/go.
This is Groceries on the Go.
And we are Foster's Go. Shop online anytime.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. News is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Island.
With a look at your latest news, I'm Jevi Ebanks. The Cabinet Office says that recent speculation on a local talk show on the reallocation and responsibilities of the Cabinet Secretary are untrue. The Cabinet Office says following discussions with the Governor, who is the appointing officer of the Cabinet Secretary, the office confirms that the current post holder, Mr. Samuel Rose, is not demitting his role nor any of the post's constitutional responsibilities. In a statement, the Cabinet Office says that the post of Cabinet Secretary is, quote, of critical importance to the current and any future government, and noted that to do this requires the post to uphold integrity and political neutrality.
I will be contesting a seat for District of Prospect in the next election on April 30th.
Michael Miles is putting his hat in the ring, announcing his candidacy in a Facebook Live event on Sunday.
While we have had faith in independents, they've proved to be unreliable. They've proved to be that they are not a cohesive unit, that they cannot put a government together. And it's been disheartening over the last 3 years to see the PAC government dissolve. In the past 3 years, the government has changed 3 times. We've had a deputy premier who've quit. We've had a no confidence vote of a former premier, and we've had ministers who've abandoned their leadership roles. I do not want to do that, and we have to make this end. Our people deserve better.
Mr. Miles says he will be running as a member of the Cayman Islands National Party, a new party for the country.
I know I cannot make changes alone. Therefore, I'm excited to tell you that I'm going to be running with a phenomenal group of people. We share the same values, we share the same philosophies, we share the same practices, and I believe that this group is going to be unbelievable for our country. I also believe that we need a combination of leaders who are proven and new leaders who bring fresh ideas.
He says some of his top priorities, if elected, will be finalizing a national plan for the Cayman Islands, tackling an increasing cost of living, and setting young Caymanians up for success, as many are choosing to migrate to other countries to find work. Finally, the Health Services Authority says they will issue temporary photo ID badges for visitors to inpatient areas. The system, they say, aligns with global hospital standards and will enhance security and efficiency by simplifying visitor identification. Inpatient areas include pediatric, critical care, and maternity unit. Currently, visitors must check in at the atrium's information booth except for accident and emergency. CEO Lizette Gearwood noted that this new system is effective in increasing security and protect both visitors and patients. It will also aid in identification during emergencies, reducing misunderstandings and delays. The new system, which is set to start on the 14th of January, will require visitors to present a government-issued photo ID for their badge. That is your latest news. I'm Jevi Ebanks. Now to the BBC for headlines around the world.
BBC News with Moira Alderson. Firefighters are working through the night to contain 3 different wildfires in and around the US city of Los Angeles. The worst blaze has forced tens of thousands of people to flee the affluent Pacific Palisades neighborhood. Strong winds are fueling the flames. The French Foreign Minister has reacted angrily to Donald Trump's suggestion that the US could use force to take control of Greenland. Jean-Noël Barrot said the EU would not let other nations attack its sovereign borders. Belarus has released photographs and a short video of the detained opposition figure Viktor Babarika in prison. The businessman had not been seen or heard from for nearly 2 years. Officials in Finland say they won't release an oil tanker suspected of damaging power and communication cables on the Baltic seabed until it's undergone necessary repairs. The Eagle S, carrying Russian oil, was seized last month. The UN says about half of Afghanistan's population will require humanitarian assistance to survive this year. It says a food crisis remains critical, while the forced return of more than 1 million undocumented Afghans from neighbouring countries has put huge pressure on local services. Indonesia is keeping a ban on selling Apple's latest iPhone, even though the company's invested $1 billion in building a factory there. Indonesia says Apple hasn't complied with a law requiring smartphones to have at least 35% of their parts made within the country. Health officials in Gaza say a series of Israeli airstrikes overnight killed more than 30 people, including several children. Israel says it killed Hamas fighters. A British study has reinforced evidence that absorbing the amount of calcium found in a large daily glass of milk can help to lower the risk of bowel cancer by almost a fifth. The study found more evidence that consuming too much alcohol and processed meat has the opposite effect. That's the latest. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Dear Jamal, happy holidays. Hope you enjoy this fishing rod I got you for Christmas. I know fishing isn't your thing, but hey, I really wanted a chance to win 100,000 True Blue points. Merry Christmas.
Gifts for them, getaways for you. This holiday season, get a chance to win 100,000 True Blue points when you spend $100 or more with your JetBlue card by CIBC Caribbean. Use your card today and you might fly very soon with JetBlue. Terms and conditions at www.cibcfcib.com/JetBlueGetaways.
Happy New Year from Vigoro. We're so excited to keep growing with you in 2025. Ready to bring new life to your landscape this year? Come to Vigoro. With over 40 years of experience and multiple Governor's Awards for excellence in design, we're pros at turning garden dreams into reality. From cozy corners to big backyard projects, residential or commercial, our award-winning team is here to help you grow. Let's make 2025 your greenest year yet, K-Man. With Vigoro by your side.
Sports. Stay up to date on your sports news with Radio Cayman Monday through Friday at 7 a.m., 6 p.m., and 10 p.m. It's all about sports.
Your sports news is brought to you by Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Village. What's up your prescription refills at 929-5045.
Good morning, my friends. Let's take a look at your latest weather. It's mostly cloudy on the outside. Present temperature 76 degrees Fahrenheit. Last night's snow was at 75. Winds out of the north at 15 miles per hour. Relative humidity 76%. The barometric pressure is at 30.03 inches and falling. Synopsis as provided by the Cayman Islands National Weather Service. Moderate northerly winds and seas are expected today as a high-pressure system builds behind the cold front, currently between Grand Cayman, Cayman Brac, and Little Cayman. Some wave action is possible along western shores through Thursday evening. So our forecast calls for cloudy skies with a 40% chance of the early morning shower. Temperatures will rise to the upper 70s. Winds will be north to northeast at 15 to 20 knots. Seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet, mainly along the northern shores. Some swells are possible along the western shores as well. Later tonight, partly cloudy skies becoming cloudy with a 40% chance of showers. Temperatures will fall to the low to mid 70s. Winds will be north to northeast at 10 to 15 knots with higher gusts. Seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet, mainly along the northern shores. Some swells are possible along the western shores. Winter high tide, low tide is coming up at 12:11 this afternoon and high at 5:03 later on this afternoon. Sunset coming up at 6:02 this evening. The outlook is for similar weather conditions through Friday morning. Thereafter, a gradual decrease in winds and seas are expected as the aforementioned high-pressure system weakens. That, my friends, is your latest weather to the hour right here on Radio Cayman.
The new KFC nuggets have arrived. That unlike the no-gets. Ours are handmade using 100% white meat, unlike the no-gets. At KFC, we hand-bread every day to achieve the perfect flavor. After you try our delicious and crispy nuggets in the original recipe, you'll never settle for less. KFC, the real nuggets. It's finger-licking good.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Very quick look at your traffic. Of course, the majority of traffic coming into the Georgetown area. We do see some congestion along the Bobby Thompson Way, especially around the roundabout. Lots of traffic as you get to the main traffic lights there on Smith Road. Some of it slow moving traffic along Crew Road and along the Linford Pearson Highway as well. And of course, swinging the cameras around to the Butterfield roundabout, which has gone blank on me for some reason. Expect the usual traffic in that area as well. Edward Street, we see slow moving traffic feeding in from off of Elgin Avenue, Louise Llewellyn Way, some coming through Walker's Road. Lots of traffic on Walker's Road as well as parents are taking kids to the schools along that way. Traffic along South Church Street feeding into Seafarers Way as well. Seeing 2 cruise ships at the Spots Dock location. Of course, Shedden Road seeing some influx of traffic, similar on Eastern Avenue. Of course, you know, once again, the Butterfield roundabout would be busy at this time. The traffic feeding into Godfrey Nixon Way, some traffic coming off the S. Lee Tibbetts, Stotson Road. Far back as Dorsey Drive, Roberts Drive as well. And most streets within the Georgetown area taking in the influx of traffic. Heading to the eastern districts, not much traffic as you make your way safely out of the Georgetown area into Savannah Breakers, eastern north side. Cayman Braca, Little Cayman, seeing very little traffic. Be safe out there, my friends. Your latest traffic report brought to you by our good friends at Subway.
Did you know ordering your favorite sandwich from Subway just got easier? Yeah, picture this. No more waiting in line. No more fussing with cash. Just a delicious taste of Subway at your fingertips. With our new app, ordering your go-to sub is as easy as a few taps on your phone. Plus, receive exclusive deals and earn loyalty points with every purchase made on the app. Download the new Subway app today and get ready to ditch the lines and drive straight into your flavor. Visit the App Store or Google Play Store on your mobile phone and search for Subway Cayman Islands. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
2025 will be here. Are you registered to vote? The last voter registration deadline is the 15th of January. Visit elections.ky today to download your registration form. It's quick and easy. Once you've filled it out, bring the form along with your original eligibility documents to the elections office, conveniently located on West Bay Road in Baytown Office Suites. Can't make it in person? No problem. Simply email your completed forms and copies of your documents to office@elections.ky. For more information, visit elections.ky. Call 949-8047 or email office@elections.ky.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. My pleasure to have in the studio with me none other than the Caymanian icon, Dr. Steve McField. We have a caller, but before we go to that caller, because I know who the caller is, and I want that caller to sort of like to chime in on what I'm going to share here as well. So off there, I was getting clarification from Dr. Steve McField, about the opening of the new legal year ceremony as opposed to the opening of a grand court. And those are two different occasions as well. So in a Chief Justice of Ireland, Justice O'Donnell, in his address at the opening of the new legal year ceremony on the 2nd of October 2023, he spoke about tradition, and he also quoted, he says, tradition is important not just to lawyers, but to everyone. The philosopher Samuel Scheffler has said that, and I quote, traditions are human practices whose organizing purpose is to preserve what is valued beyond a lifespan of any single individual or generation. They are collaborative, multi-generational enterprises devised by human beings precisely to satisfy a deep human impulse to preserve what is of value. Then the article goes on, he goes on to speak and say, respecting traditions is not, however, to allow the past to control the present. The fact that, as Scheffler puts it, tradition is a multi-generational enterprise means that, in fact, each generation chooses which traditions or parts of traditions it considers worth maintaining, and in some cases, adding to, adapting, or refreshing. It is always the present generation which decides whether a tradition of a past generation is worth following. There he was talking about tradition, Doc. Let's grab our caller, and then you can engage with him as well. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Thanks for being so patient.
Well, good morning, OC, and good morning, Dr. Steve. I have to wish Dr. Steve a Happy New Year since OC, you already have your Happy New Year from me.
Yes. And I wish you a Happy New Year too, Mr. Billy.
Yeah. Thanks very much, Dr. Steve. I'll be very brief because I really want to follow what you are saying about, the history of the Grand Court. Now, I only have one matter to update you on. Also, I mentioned last time when I called that I had filed a complaint against the Attorney General for failing to create a record of the engagement of a lawyer who handled my case, and also that he says that lawyer was not paid, and yet that lawyer appeared in 3 courts and he filed documents and so on. Now, what happened is once he said that he didn't create that record, I complained to the Ombudsman to say that he was in violation of Section 6 of the National Archives and Public Records Law, which says very, very clearly that all public agencies, which include portfolios, should create a record of their affairs. Now, there's no doubt that the Attorney General was in violation of that because he admits that there's no record which was found. So yesterday I received an email from the Ombudsman saying that essentially that the Attorney General has raised some issues regarding the jurisdiction of the Ombudsman to investigate that matter. So basically the Attorney General is saying that the Ombudsman has no jurisdiction to investigate that matter. Mm-hmm. Now, in my view to the Ombudsman was, well, you clearly have jurisdiction. It is maladministration to fail to comply with the law. but the ombudsman has decided that she will take the matter to the Grand Court.
Okay.
Because of the what she called complex jurisdictional issues that have arisen. So I just thought I should update the public that the matter will be going to court to determine that. But in closing, let me say this. It's very interesting that the Attorney General now is claiming you have no right to question me, even in circumstances where it is clear that I have violated the law. But I think that the public needs to know that it is very, very important, and I think going forward for the protection of the public in such matters. That's the matter I called about. So, but I understand you want me to chime in on something else.
Yes. Talking about the and I don't know if you heard Dr. McField's earlier comments in terms of his non-attendance for the opening of the Grand Court, and the ceremonial aspect of it, the involvement of the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, and the mere appearance that, of possible conflict between the judiciary and the police?
Yes, I heard the comments. Actually, I've been listening from the very, very beginning.
Oh, thank you.
And by the way, you did mention that I think your sister named Amy Campbell went through surgery.
Aline. Yeah.
Aline Campbell went
Yes.
through surgery. I would just like wish your family and comfort of God, the Creator, and always remember, OC, if you acknowledge Him in all thine ways, He shall direct their path. Thanks very much.
Yes, thank you, Billy.
Yes, about the traditions. Well, I come originally from a country where, to this day, when they are opening parliament, they still have horses and wigs and gowns and so on, and yet horses are not traditional to the society. You see, the thing about tradition is that very often because we get so used to a certain thing, sometimes we even forget that there's something wrong in that. And you need somebody of the caliber of Dr. Steve to be able to say, hey, you know what, this actually is not normal, and it violates a certain principle. There's a country in West Africa, they've just gotten rid of their wigs and gowns and so on. Oh, by the way, I don't know how much the wigs now cost. They cost about almost £300 or £400. I don't know why.
More than that.
To spend that. More than that, yeah?
Yes. Mm.
Yeah, because I got, although I don't use mine, I still have it. I think when I paid for mine, it was somewhere around £300. But so, to me, there is need always to be able, even in an overseas territory like the Cayman Islands, to be able to look again at things and say, do we have to say this? For example, in Parliament, it is always said at the very beginning, no, not in Parliament. I think it's more, okay, the example I should give is the one in Canada here, which is supposed to be an independent country. Still, when you go to court in Canada, the marshal there says, good morning, everyone, God save the Queen. They still do that in Canada. Mm-hmm. And they don't have to do that. It was done to dominate people so that people can know that they are dominated. So I do agree that these things should be, the independence of the judiciary should not just be there as a fact. It should be there. There should also be an appearance of it. And one of the ways you get rid of that appearance of lack of independence is to get rid of these traditions where the police and the other institutions are too closely related to the Chief Justice. By the way, that never happens in most Commonwealth countries that I'm aware of, the inspection of the guard of honor by the Chief Justice. I think too much closeness. I agree with that.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Billy, for that. I believe we have 3 callers on hold, Paul. Okay, we're going to grab the landline next. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller.
Morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Happy New Year to you, sir.
And a Merry Christmas, because I right round the corner again.
That is true.
Happy New Year, Mr. Devil.
I am I1. I'm calling in. In the 60s, I had a fight with that team called Brandon. Mm-hmm. Case came to court, and I requested a jury. Brandon objected to it, saying that all Caymanians is interrelated there should be no fair trial by jury. And they turned it down on that. And I will refuse the jury more than 60 years afterwards. They still having jury trial. Okay. Dr. Steve, you can go to the books and check out that case.
I remember that case.
Yeah,
Yes.
I've read it in the Trade Winds newspaper as well.
I remember that case.
So I was penalized here. They brought in a Jamaica judge to try it. Jamaican clerk of court and ran in a Jamaican. So that's why I went through. But I didn't go in jail and I didn't pay him no money.
So those are the days when the court system was administered directly from Jamaica. Those were the days when the court system was directly administered from Jamaica.
I guess so.
Yes, when the judges and the lawyers and most of the higher echelons in the court system were from Jamaica, and the local the local legal people were called law agents.
Mm-hmm.
Today they would be like solicitors in England. They were the ones who gathered the information and passed it on to the Jamaican lawyers and stuff when it came down to hear the cases.
So I decided to call him and give that little piece there.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Farrington, Mr. Ivan.
Okay, you all have a blessed day.
Yes.
And you do the same. You do the same as well, sir. Any more callers on hold? Okay, Doc, I want you to share because, our audience like to hear those anecdotes about, the various things that you talk about. And I want you to tell our audience the one that you told me off air in relation to the legal system in the past and the fines and how when the fines were collected, that particular story with some men, Caymanian icons who had been charged and fined.
Yes. Well, in the old days, two of the most ridiculous high fines were gambling and possession of cow cod mostly.
Oh, okay.
Today you couldn't possess a cow cod, was sort of possession cow cod, and the fines were like 1 guinea or 2 guineas. And gambling was a really, really bad crime in those days. It was so the men used to go out and gamble in the bushes, and they would take cardboard.
The tamarind tree was
the tamarind tree
was a famous one.
Yes, but they would raid the tamarind tree, so they would retreat further in the bushes with take cardboard. So I heard they had arrested all of these men for gambling. So I went down there to the court's office and they had arrested Farmer McField, Malachi Connor, Willard Connor, Dan Hogg, Stewart, Steve Watler, and a whole lot of those men for gambling.
Mm-hmm.
So I was peeped into the courts, into the court to see what was going to happen. So Sergeant Nixon was the arresting officer and the investigating officer. In those days, he had to have all the full uniform with the helmet and the tunic, and he had to hold the helmet in his left hand, and with the crown on the helmet facing the judge, the judge. So around the table was Mr. Lyons, the JP. They were the judges, and Mr. Warren Conley's father, Mr. From East End, and Ada Parsons and Mr. Cuthbert Borden, who were the clerk of the courts. And so representing the group of guys was Mr. Sir Alden's grandfather. And so he was Alden's grandfather got up and was cross-examining Sergeant Nixon. So he says, Sergeant Nixon, can you inform the court what evidence you have to show the court that these men were actually gambling? So Sergeant Nixon said, "Oh, Your Honor," he says, "I looked at their backsides and I saw that their pants bottom were shiny. So I know that they were sitting on cardboard, and I know that was evidence of gambling." so they deliberated. And I could hear them shoo and go and says, Mordecai Connor, Farmer McField, Willard Connor, Steve Watler, Dan Hogg, we found you guilty and we convict you. And we are going to charge you 10 shillings and 6 pounds, half of a guinea. And you have to pay it within 7 days or 7 days imprisonment. So it was Friday. And of course, in those days, the bar closed at 3 o'clock. So they gather up. So the family brought the money down to the courts because they wouldn't let them go unless they pay. And they paid the fine. Now, in those days, the clerk of the court's office was right in Georgetown, and the back of the clerk of the court's office was facing the back of the Captain Ben's bar, which was across the street from where Royal Bank is now. So Mr. Ada Parson, the clerk of the courts, had collected the money from Mr. Roddy Watler, and he had brought it there because the bank, the government savings bank was closed. They couldn't deposit it until Monday. So those boys who had been convicted and had paid the fine sent Dan Hogg to the clerk of court's office to ask him to borrow the money, some of the money that they had paid that morning. So they go in and they knock on the clerk of court's door. You know, the clerk of court's door, what they call it, Dutch door. You could open half and one half closed.
Yes.
And they saw him lying down there like snoozing. So he said, "Who is it?" He said, "Dan Hogg." He said, "Well, what do you want?" He said, "Can you come to the door so I can speak to you personally?" So he says, "Okay." So Mr. Ada Parson came by and says, "Well, what can I do for you, Dan?" He said, "Farmer and them boys asked if they could borrow some of that money, 10 shillings of that money that they paid this morning because the bar is closing 3 o'clock and they need to buy some alcohol. So and it's Saturday, and the bar, they say the government say the bank is already closed." And he said, "I don't know if I can do that, you know." He said, "Because Roddy just brought that here to me, and I'm just holding it for the weekend so that I can deposit that in the government savings bank in the morning." And he said, "Well, the boy said they got to pay you back, sir, first thing in the morning when the bank open." Okay, then he said, "How much they wanted?" And he said, 10 shillings and 6 pounds out of the so he gave them the money, and they went and bought the alcohol with the money that they had just deposited in the court. And so when shortly after that, Gerard came, Commissioner Andrew Gerard came on the island, and when he assessed the balance of they had in the government coffers, there was no money to pay civil servants and teachers and policemen, and they had to borrow money from Albert Smith, and Marion to put back in because that's how some of the money went. The men would best borrow the money, bring back from the clerk of courts that they paid, and so forth. So those were some of the good old days.
Yes. Those folks, those of you who are listening and watching, that was Cayman back then. That was our Cayman then. We have to go to a commercial break. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
This is For the Record.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. My pleasure to have in the studio with me Dr. Steve McField. Our phone lines are open. We're talking about anything that you want to talk about this morning. Dr. McField opined about the opening of the Grand Court. We had a very good discussion about that, and we trust that you were able to gain some knowledge from that. And then, we had the anecdotal issue of, our court system, how it worked in those days, how personalized it was. You pay your fine and then you could go back and borrow the money, afterwards, for the weekend as well. Just to remind all of you that we are based on the Elections Office's website. We are 111 days, 111 days, 22 hours, 21 minutes, and 26 seconds, now 24 seconds away from Election Day here in the Cayman Islands as well. Yesterday, I hope and I trust that many of you also had the opportunity to listen to the Business Buzz with Miss Kathy Miller and our good friend and your colleague, Dr. McField, Miss Teresa Pitcairn, had a very good discussion on talking about voter apathy and the efforts also being made to ensure that young people participate in our electoral process, how we get them engaged into that as well. I'm trying to get some information, and hopefully I'll get it. I want to look at the percentage of registered voters who actually voted in our elections, and I know that every election that formed a part of the report that had to be submitted by the supervisor of elections, because I believe, despite the fact that we may suffer for some voter apathy here in the Cayman Islands, and for various reasons, getting young people engaged, getting them interested in the voting process, that's a challenge that is universal, really. That's a universal challenge that is faced. But I believe that the figures will show that voter participation here in the Cayman Islands has been one of the highest in the world, save for those communist countries where everybody is required to vote. And even if they don't vote, they say, that the candidate got 100% or 99.9, percent of the votes as well. But I know that we have always been in the 70s and in the 80s in terms, of voter participation. And hopefully I'll be able to get some of that information, as well. But here we are, 111 days away from Election Day. We know that some people are still questioning, especially on social media platforms. We see that some people are declaring their candidacy, but not a whole lot of details have been coming out yet. I believe that we're still in the process of some groups trying to get together, parties, being formed, and everything. Let's hear from you on that, on those.
Well, Mr. For the Record, I am sort of skeptical about these groups getting together and so forth. They're only getting together to try to win an election, get a seat. But they're not getting together, it seems to me, to have any long-range policy of where Cayman is moving to and how it's going to get there. It seems to me that this is just the same old thing, a hurry-up thing, just like a fast food. You drive up into the fast food system, you grab the hamburger, you grab the stuff, you pay for it, you rush away in your car, you eat it up, and then you're hungry in the next half an hour again, and you probably stop at another fast food place to do the same thing all over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to vote for it for any people who do not have any long range plans of how they are going to build this new society, of how they of nation building, and you can't expect groups who come a couple of weeks before the House is dissolved and putting themselves together as a group of people trying to get a majority so that they can run the country and expect change to happen. That's not going to happen. Anybody who vote for that sort of stuff is doing the same thing that they did before when they vote for other people and they fell apart. They must have some cohesive organization with rules and regulations of how they are going to present themselves, and they must have some rapport with the country about who is going to take the different positions in government. I don't know if they are going to have any turtle stew and this year to be able to fight over.
Well, based on the demand that we had over the holidays for turtles, they better place their orders now.
The orders soon. Otherwise, they will be committing the first offense by going and taking them from the water. So the problem that we have is that I want to know who's going to be the minister of what and who's going to lead the country. And it seems to me that if all of these people have the ability to put themselves, of the ability to lead, and they are putting themselves together, in so many of the groups, they all should get together and decide, we are going to accept him or her to lead the country. We are going to follow. We are going to be the ministers. This is our portfolio. This is our manifesto. This is how we intend to do it, and bring it back to the people. This group thing, where there's no accountability to anyone except their group and themselves. I am not going to vote for any people like that. I can tell you that.
Okay, we have a caller on hold, but we have to take a commercial break first. I'm going to say to that caller, hang in there. We're going to take a quick commercial break. As soon as we return, we will take your call. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
She hear clunk and our car stop. I was just about to send her some money, so I send it straight to her JN Money transfer card. It cost me less, and perhaps she use the card, pay the garage right away. She'll get discount through the JN Rewards program in Jamaica. This card make things easy. You can even get funds at any multi-link ATM.
JN Money transfer card. Fast, affordable, convenient. Tell your loved ones in Jamaica about it. Sign up is free.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. a traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way, positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We do have a caller on hold. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor. Good morning, Dr. McField.
Good morning,
ma'am.
I didn't get a chance to say Happy New Year's to you, Dr. McField.
Happy New Year to you, ma'am.
Thank you. My question is, who do you have studying you with all of this wealth of knowledge, to preserve all that you know, and hopefully it can be passed down. I don't know if you've written any books, but it's been a very, very informative and educational discussion. I'm glued to the phone, and I learned a lot about Miss Twyla May in Bordentown. I knew her very, very well.
Yes.
And I learned something new about her today and was very impressed because it's in my field. So I don't know if you have an answer for the question of who's understudying you, but you need to get someone because, when you get to that time, we want to know that your knowledge is preserved and be not forgotten, as a historian in the legal field in the Cayman Islands.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Twyla May Marcus was the person that Judge Fields and I recommended of all the candidates who applied for the job to be the first bailiff of the Grand Court, the first civil bailiff of the Grand Court outside the police force, and she also acted as a temporary librarian, also hoping to get the library together. And then I left and went to England to do the bar exams, and when I came back, she was okay. Before that, the court system was run by the police. The police summons ma'am, the problems I had. I'm just giving you a summary. But when I selected the 36 jurors in those days under the judicature law, and I sent the writ to the bailiff of the Grand Court, which was Mr. Warren Ebanks, since Chief Inspector Warren Ebanks, they sent it back and said to me that they were objecting to 14 names on the list of being jurors. And I was amazed. I had just come from law school, and so forth. I said, how can that be? And then I'm not going to call the names of the people in the glass house who called me up and said to me, what are you doing? This is how it goes. I says, no, not under the judicature law. The police has no right under the judicature law to add or subject any names. And the Judge Fields from Barbados, who was then the acting Grand Court judge, asked me to write a letter and put it in writing. I have all my records. I kept them, all my records to the person in the glass house and to the Chief Inspector Warren Ebanks. I have that letter, and that is how. And we said, the Chief Justice said he was going to, the Grand Court judge said he was going to resign. And I said I was going to resign my office as clerk of the courts if we didn't get that done. And we had to, Carl Rattray, who was the Jamaican lawyer representing Mr. Carl Brandon, had not arrived on the island yet. And he asked me to send a letter to Carl Rattray saying what the position was in Grand Cayman, because he might want to object to the whole paneling of the jurors in that respect. That's how Twyla May became the first. Vargas became the first civil Grand Court bailiff of the Cayman Islands. So we, I don't know who's gonna. I don't know who's gonna understudy me. I don't think anybody is interested in the history of their country, mostly. And ma'am, you know that Cayman is not a literary society. We don't like books, for instance. And one of the reasons why I haven't written a lot of stuff down is because I am sort of a pessimistic about the whole system, because Roy Barton has several books and not one of them is listed as reading in high schools or in a university. And so I figure, why should I go and do that when it's going to be discarded and thrown in the bin, and they'll rather have some book about how the king in England kill off his 7-8 wives and things like that, and that's what they teach. That's what they teach you and examine you on. So that's one of the reasons why I don't know what's going to happen to me when I eventually pass on. I guess I'll have to give all of my notes and my writings and all my papers and stuff to my children and hope that they preserve something from my legacy.
Caller, I will share. I will share with you one thing though. Dr. McField and I had the opportunity a few weeks ago to visit a very prominent former legislator, former minister or member of cabinet in the Cayman Islands, and he suggested a title, and he said to Dr. McField also, you need to write a book, because we were talking a lot about Georgetown. And Doc, he said to you, the title should be The Georgetown That I Knew.
Yes.
But so we could change it to the Cayman
that I knew,
as opposed to the Georgetown. So at least that's a start, caller.
Yes.
But Ma'am, I'll share something with you.
Yes, sir.
When I was young, I didn't know that I had a special gift. It was the woman who was the librarian, Miss Leela McTire Rothshire, who brought that out in me, and she's always said to me, "Sonny, you got a good mind. You need to develop it." I had no idea. They laughed at me. They called me all kinds of names and say all kinds of stuff about me. And even when I came back with my education, they called me a fool, educated fool, and say I was a radical, and I was a black power advocate, and I was going to mash up the country. And I ran for election at two times, and they refused to vote for me. Because people told them that I was not good for the Cayman Islands and so forth and so forth.
Now they want you to run.
now they want me to run at my age now. Now they want me to run at my age now to see what I can do to help them. And I'm not resentful of that. I am grateful that I have lived so long and kept the gift that God gave me and multiplied it, my great memory, and so. It's sort of frustrating when you live in a society that they say that illustrates that a prophet is not honoring his own country. I'll tell you a story, then I'll leave you. I had a professor. I had a professor in England, and when we start talking about how the law developed in England from the Norman conquest, and how the law developed, and he was, how do you know all that stuff? And then we start talking, and he was saying to me, I don't know if it's a fiction or what he was telling me, but he said to me that there's a story about a boy who came from a country. From a village in a country, he went out to the city, to the university, had great knowledge, was a great scholar, and his professors asked him to stay in the university and the academic system, and help them develop other people like him. And he said, "No, I'm going back to my village and help the villagers there." So he went back to his village. And he, years later, 5-6 years later, the professor decided to go to see how he was doing in his village, see what he had accomplished. And somebody directed the professor to his mother's, to the student's mother's house. And he knocked at the door and asked for the student, and she said, well, he's not here, but he's usually down in the village square. And you might find him there. And the professor said, okay, I'll go and I'll see if I can find him. And the professor went down to the village square, and he saw this man surrounded by all of these people in the village, and there was a discussion, then it became an argument, and then they started to beat this guy with sticks and so forth. And the professor came back to the house of the student and says, "Ma'am, I went down to the village, I saw a skirmish, but I didn't recognize your son down there." And she said, "Well, can you tell me what you saw?" And he said, "I saw there was a discussion and an argument, and then the villagers were beating this guy with a stick, and he said, that was my son. That was my son. That was my son." And then another person told me, read and ran, the Atlas Shrug and the Fountainhead, and she says that if you come from a small village and you go to the city and you get a good education or get a good skill or you become an great actor or something, you should not go back to your village. And she tells stories about how people came, two boys came from the village and they wanted to be veterinarians, and they came to New York City, and they both became veterinarians. They graduated from veterinary school, and one stayed in New York, and he became the darling of New York, had great patience. All the middle-class women and men brought their parrots and their dogs and their cats to him, and he became great wealth. And the other one went back to the village, and he was very poor because all the farmers paid him was in milk, carrots, and so forth. So that's the kind of philosophy that I'm faced with in Cayman.
Yeah, caller.
But I just wanted to say quickly, going back to the books in schools. I actually was at the museum yesterday, and I deliberately chose the museum to go and purchase a flag. And I noticed that Dr. Roy's books were there. I noticed Kevin's books, Kevin Goring's books were there. And I thought the very same thing. I wonder if these books are in our schools for local students especially our government schools, but also our private schools, for our students to learn about the history of the Cayman Islands, especially to continue to retain our local dialects and words and so forth. And Dr. McField, I know I don't have to encourage you to do this because you're a very learned legal professional, and but I would encourage you to still start your autobiography and your historical writings, and make sure you have your will, and you have stated in your will specifically what you want done with your works and your writings and your records and so forth. I don't know how many kids you have, but I'm sure one of them would be dedicated to making sure that your works become come to fruition and it's published. And it's very easy to do now. Publishing isn't as hard as it used to be, but it definitely needs. I definitely would love to see it. I enjoy Dr. Roy's. I may not always agree with some of the things he say, but I enjoy his works, and it would be great to see your works get out there.
Okay.
And I just wanted to say, have a thought as you go about your day in the next few weeks and months about who you want to understudy you, because it's very important. We need to retain, this part of our history.
Thank you very much, caller. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Folks, top of the hour, headline news. I believe we do still have another caller on hold. We will take that caller as soon as we return. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Information, entertainment, inspiration.
Covering Grand Cayman, Little Cayman, Cayman Brac.
Since 1976 till now.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
With a look at your latest headlines, I'm Jevi Ebanks. A man is found unresponsive at an address in Bordentown. 911 confirms to Radio Cayman that overnight emergency services were sent to a report of a man found, quote, unresponsive and not breathing. Radio Cayman has reached out to the RCIPS for further details, so make sure to keep it locked. In regional news, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service dismissed reports of a bomb threat
at the Besson Street police station as fake news. This station was previously involved in a gunfire incident between criminal gangs in late December, leading to a state of emergency in the country. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley mentioned potential retaliatory actions in the coming days. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service confirmed there is no evidence of a bomb threat, but stated all stations are on heightened alert during the state of emergency. They urge the public to remain calm and avoid spreading unverified information. Also in Trinidad and Tobago, the Southern Caribbean Conference of Seventh-day Adventists have been given 28 days to publicly apologize to musician Lou Lyons after his photo was used to imply his involvement in the murder of Special Prosecutor Randall Hector on New Year's Eve. Lyons' lawyer, Joel Roper, stated that the misleading image caused significant distress and tarnished Lyons' reputation. Lyons, a long-standing member of the church, is demanding an apology and clarification on whether the church edited and released the footage. The Law Association of Trinidad and Tobago has called for increased security measures for prosecutors following Hector's murder. Lyons identified himself in a Facebook post refuting the false allegations. That is your latest headlines. I'm Jevi Ebanks.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
Do you have a healthcare question but not sure who to ask? Contact HSA's Patient Call Center to speak to one of our experienced clinical team members. We are here to answer your questions and help guide you through your healthcare journey. Need to make an appointment? Our team can help. Contact HSA at 949-8600 or email info@hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
With Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have 1 hour to go before the show ends. We do have callers calling in. I'll just remind you of the numbers as well. The toll-free number provided courtesy of Flow. So if you're using Flow services, you can call toll-free 1-800-534-8255. Other numbers 949-8037, 949-6990. WhatsApp number 925-3261. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. This is my very first time calling into the show, but I listen very regularly.
Thank you.
I really, really appreciate the knowledge and information sharing that happens on Radio Cayman, particularly with respect to our history. I had to call in to just say that I thoroughly agree with the sentiment that we as a people do not really understand our history. And actually, I have to also share that the first time I learned about the lady that wrote our national anthem was via the YouTube video that was produced by her family members, in which Dr. Steve is featured.
Yes.
And I have watched that 1,000,000 times, and I've made sure that my children watch it, and I share it with as many people as I possibly can. But I didn't learn about this, wonderful, impressive lady in our history until I was well in my 30s. And that's just a shame, because I watched that video with so much pride. Honestly, it gives me so much pride to understand who she was. And I already had loved our national song, but I love it even more now. And I just wanted to voice my opinion about, how important it is for us to understand the people that have come before us and people like Dr. Steve who are still around, you know, the valuable contribution that they have made and are making in shaping this country. I am currently reading Mr. Roy Borden's book. Sorry, the title eludes me right now. I think it's sorry, the title is not coming to me right now.
From the guardhouse to the glass house, is it that one?
No. The Cayman Islands in Transition.
Oh yes, okay. Yes.
That one. And we really need books like that and a history curriculum in the Cayman Islands government schools. 100%. We need to understand how we came to be where we are today. Again, I'm well in my 40s now, just really embracing this knowledge. I have a keen interest in constitutional law, which is why I always listen keenly when Dr. Steve is on. I just had to call to say I really, really appreciate this, but we also need to get this curriculum in the hands of our children. They need to understand where we're coming from. It's vitally, vitally important. So I hope that, and actually, you know, sometimes you have to put action to the things that you're passionate about. And so I will do my part to see how I can, because my children are in government school, to see how we can somehow get these things in the curriculum, because we do Caribbean history. I history, you know, as a subject, but my own history I have not. I'm just learning now as an adult. Yeah. So, and then also just wanted to second what Dr. Steve said earlier about when we go to the polls this year. Please recognize and understand that we need persons who are able to move this country forward, which includes being able to come together as a cohesive group with mixed skills and also a vision for the long-term well-being of this nation. We cannot go through another cycle where, you know, there's all this disorganization. You know, I think we got some things done, but you cannot get anything done in 4 years without organization and cohesion, and a mission and a vision. So I'm appealing to the candidates that are coming forward. Please come together as a group and come with a mission and a vision, a long-term plan for how you will get things done during the 4 years, because that's what I'm looking for as well.
And Carla, before you go, not to take anything away from our other national heroes, but it took a long, long time. It was a hard-fought battle for the family of Miss Leila Ross Shire to get her acknowledged as one of our national heroes. Now, in most countries, well, first of all, if the Cayman Islands were independent, that would be our national anthem.
Exactly.
Beloved Isles Cayman would be our national anthem. The author of most national anthems that I know of, they would be considered, you know, top of the list.
The icons of the country.
Francis Scott Key.
Yes, right.
In the United States.
Yes.
But it took the family, and I don't know why. You know, I have asked, and I'm going to delve into it some more. I'm sure that politics probably had something to do with it. But it took them so long for them to recognize her as a national hero.
And, ma'am, it happened on this radio station.
Yes, yeah,
we plugged that for years and years and years. And several years ago, we said on this radio station, I said I was going to take up a petition and have the people sign it. And it was then that cabinet said, "Oh, don't do that. We are going to recognize her." That's when they said we're going to recognize her. Miss Leila McField Ross-Shire was one of the most brilliant women that we ever produced. Not only the national song, but she also did a lot of other songs, and she also was the director, author of many concerts in the town hall. I used to go to a lot of her productions that the plays that she would put on, and the song that she wrote, and I knew her so well, and I was down to the library every day, nearly every day, and I am so glad that they have recognized her. But Mom, the problem that we have now is that we have over 90,000 people in the country now. And the country is still small enough for all of the people who are advocating a position to elected position to run the country to get together and say, okay, this is how we are going to do it, and bring a platform to the people so that the people can scrutinize it and recognize it and accept it. We cannot continue this haphazard way, this reactionary way down for the next 4, 5, 6 years. Otherwise, we're going to lose our country and lose our identity. And the problem that we have is I do not see any of them who are putting Cayman first. They are not putting Cayman first, and they are putting the money people first. They are putting the developers first. The developers and the people, they're the ones who seem to be calling the shots. They are the donors, and they're the ones who sort of directing the future of Cayman, which is not going to include us.
Okay.
And that's a problem that I have for my grandchildren.
Yep.
And for your grandchildren, and for my neighbor's grandchildren too.
100%, and that's exactly the message that I would love just reverberated for everyone. We need people that are looking out for our future generations.
Yep.
But the mandate has to be the future, shaping the future. That is what we need, and it's a shame that we have to fight so hard to recognize the contribution of Caymanians, but I guess we have to continue that fight. So I will add into the previous caller and say, please do publish your book. I will read it.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you very much, caller. Thank you. And
you make me happy.
You're so eloquent, and in terms of your speech, the clarity and the purpose as well. So don't remain silent. Whenever we're opining on anything, we're talking about anything on here, please feel free to call in.
And she said she was in constitutional law?
Yes, it has an interest in constitutional law.
Well, she can always, you can always call me, and that's my best subject.
Yeah.
That's my passion.
Yes. Okay. We have to take a commercial break. We do have a caller. We will take that caller as soon as we return. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget. Our custom closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
At Kirk's Home Center, we can make your life much better. We got it all together. We got a great deal in store for you. From cookware to stereos, from power tools to plumbing supplies. Yeah, we got the best goods with the best price and a service to make you smile. At Kirk's Home Center, we got a great deal in store for you.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. My pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning none other than icon Dr. Steve McField. We have a caller who's been on hold for a while. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, gentlemen. Happy New Year.
Hey, good morning, good morning. Happy New Year to you, and congratulations.
Yes.
Congratulations.
It finally happened. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you. And great discussion. And you know what that the previous caller had to say. You know, she was right on target.
Yes.
And over the years, as I've looked back, you know, over our history, there are lots of information that I think, shall I put it in this way, have been gathered, but it needs to be curated. And I mean, with the basic information, the general information that goes out over some of these programs over the years, there needs to be a curator that can sit down, and that's all they do. But it has to be Caymanian, somebody with total meat and cornbread understanding, more or less.
Yes.
And pick out all of these informational pieces, because they're not in any continuous narrative. You know, over the hundreds of hours that I did over the last 45 years or so, there are pieces in there that needs to be pulled out and put in a form that people coming after us will understand what made made us what we are. And sadly, it does not seem to shine too much of a light on where we're going. But I don't think we can lose that vision that, you know, light from the past always shines a bright light onto the future. And Dr. Mack, you know, you've contributed a lot to this. I think you might remember that. I think about 3 years ago, I tried to get you to come on, and we were going to do your story. In fact, I put together quite a bit of stuff that we've had in various programs over the years. So we got to think about that.
So you want to do my story, Mr. Loxley?
Well, yeah, you know, we talked about it. Like within the last 5 years, even we had several, you know, just off the cuff discussions about it, and yeah. So.
Well, maybe we should get together to share, because you know, you know, I am very sensible about my mortality. So you know, I'm not going to be here forever.
Yeah, you're aware of that.
Yes. So
well, not only you, Doc, but you know, like the old saying, I'm 3/4 home from the start to the finish, knowing we'll never be 18 again. So, but and some of the other folks that there needs to be, you know, a story done on Dalmeen Ebanks. One of, if you look at his career and see the many contributions that he has made, that's still standing today, and goes on and on. And you know, you hardly hear anything. But there are other ones in the within the society that we have to there has to be a general, really concentrated effort to get these things done. Now, we got a cultural policy, you know, which I guess is sitting on some shelf somewhere, gathering dust. You know, that needs to come into play, and get all this thing done, because, you know, once those that have it between their ears are laid out facing the east, it's gone.
Yeah, Mr. Loxley, you know, just this weekend here, I was when I heard the news about Charles the Killer Whitaker, I was saying to myself, what would Mr. Dalmeen think now if he was alive to know that one of his prodigies had reached a hall of fame of boxing, where that would have been something in his life that he would have enjoyed, you know, the success he would have enjoyed.
You know, I knew Didi all my life. In fact, I spent quite a time helping him out in his boxing advocacy. You know, he built a ring, a professional ring, right in the West Bay Town Hall there, where he could bring these type of folks in, like Charles, and train them. I tell you a little story he told me one time about Charlie. Charlie was coming in every night, and they were, this is West Bay Town Hall, when they had the boxing ring. And he was, coming along, and Dee Dee said, this guy's got some talent. And Dee Dee said to me, and I said to myself, I'm going to go get him in the ring one day, and one night, and I'm going to dust him up a little bit.
Yes.
He said, I hit him kind of hard. And he said he jumped out of the ring and cussed me out and took off.
Yes.
But he said, he was back the next night.
Yes.
I thought to myself, this guy's got some heart. So.
Yes.
But there needs to be a really concentrated effort of getting all this information put in a form that, the children coming up behind us, and even those, I think the lady that spoke so eloquently there a little bit, she said she was in her 40s, and a lot of that stuff I think she admitted she never knew. So, and it's going to take this kind of effort to really get our heritage, our culture, and our history up to the level to where it should be. And if it's not done pretty soon, then, and pretty soon, I mean, immediately.
So, Mr. Loxley, I spoke to several different people, and I said, I would come into the schools. I would come into the university college and have some lectures about, the geography and history of Cayman, and so forth. The urban geography of how the towns were developed, how the towns were made, and the interaction between the towns, the different towns, and how we develop into where we are today. But nobody taking that up from me. No, nobody's saying, okay, here, come and spend an hour and a half here or 2 hours here and speak to. No, nobody's done that. They just don't really care. It seems to me.
Well, as you remember, Dr. Mack, I guess about 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, could have been, time moved by so fast. There was a public sort of announcement made at one of Dr. Borden's book, when he was presenting his book, that they were going to get him and others to develop this curriculum.
That's right, and that never happened.
Never happened.
Never happened. Never happened.
That's been at least 5 years ago, right?
Yes, right.
Yeah.
And the minister said the reason why it didn't happen too.
Well, I know, because I must have missed that one. But anyway, great discussion, and these are the things that has to happen. And like I said, there's 6, 5, 10, 7, 8, 9 volumes of historical, cultural, heritage information buried in programs like what you all are conducting this morning, and they're existing. There are probably maybe 1,000 hours, 1,500 hours, 2,000 hours of this type of programming. That if you get somebody to know what they're doing, go in there and pull out these pieces, and then collate it all together. You've got a great, you got a good semblance of what our history is all about. All the best to you all.
Thank you, and congratulations again, Mr. Loxley.
Right. Thank you, Paul. I'll be in contact with you.
Yeah, okay. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
Okay, any callers on hold, Paul? No callers on hold. So, Doc, I'm extremely grateful to the supervisor of elections, because I called him in between commercial breaks,
yes,
and then I had to, I kept him on the line, but I had to,
He's still on the line?
return. No, I had to return to because we were coming back on air, but he did get my message, because what I was trying to find on the elections website was the voter turnout for each election year. So he has shared with me, because I spoke earlier about the really informative discussion that Ms. Teresa had yesterday with Kathy on the Business Buzz, talking about voter apathy and everything. And earlier I talked about the voter turnout in the Cayman Islands. So for instance, in 2009, and that was when we had our new constitution as well. So we had the referendum as well. The turnout in that year was 79.57% voter turnout.
Almost 80%.
Almost 80%. That is high. That is extremely high. 2013, all right, 4 years later, turnout 79.94%.
Wow.
Then we see in 2017, that percentage dropped to 74.10%, and 2021 73.1. So we see the decline in turnout. So in the last 4 years, 2017 to 2021, we saw a decline of 1% in voter turnout. So whether or not that trend continues, we'll see what happens in this year in terms of it. But there's no question that we need to empower, we need to engage our younger voters. Those obstacles that are in place that may prevent people from not wanting to register to vote, including, being called for jury duty. We need to do something to incentivize them, whether it has to do with increasing the what you pay jurors, because some people may have the luxury of being paid by their employer while they're serving on jury duty, but at the same time the employer may say, well, whatever you get for serving, then we're going to deduct that from your salary. And there are others who have the ability to sit there and do so as a result of that. We do have 2 callers on hold, so we're going to take the commercial break very quickly, and then we're going to accommodate both callers as soon as we return. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
Social media, X, formerly Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Interact with our talk shows on YouTube. Download our official Radio Cayman app, or you can log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky. You can also add us to WhatsApp
on 925-3261.
All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Radio Cayman.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. 2 callers on hold. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Just quickly, I just wanted to share something. I heard Mr. Lockley a few minutes ago talking about basically, all you guys talking about the Cayman culture and basically we need to preserve it because it seems like it's kind of slipped away a bit. But sometimes I mean, having kids, you know, and cousins and nephews that are a lot younger than me, I find it kind of, it's, I wouldn't say strange, but then it's worrying because even maybe they're only like, maybe let's say 20 years or 15 years younger than me, when I even ask them about Kim and how, like, what they learned in school, it seems more Americanized, or I don't know if it's more American system we use or UK, but they don't even know the basics of what I learned when I was coming up. So I don't know if, like, we need to implement more of that in the school, because you ask them, you know, who's the premier now or who's the governor, or you even ask them just basic questions, like they don't know, like they just don't know, and that's kind of worrying. That I don't know if we're not teaching enough, or we should just it should be mandatory, like it should be a mandatory class just for Cayman history, because there's so much to be, it's so much that we have done in the year. When you hear the older people speak about all the fishing days and the turtle in the boat, and, like, you know, where we kind of came from, the different nationalities, it's actually very educational. You know, it's the things that we've done, and I only know some of these things because of the older folks. When you get a chance to sit down, I appreciate the little time they take, because it's, some people don't have time anymore, to be honest, with life. But when you get that half an hour, 20 minutes, and they tell you, well, you know, how this person is connected to you, even though they got a different last name, and you're like, oh, really? And you hear all these stories of, you know, how, for instance, I guess the Ebanks is like how the Manhattan and the Ebanks are connected, how the Bush and this one, and you hear this whole thing, and you say, oh, I didn't know that, and I wasn't taught that in school, but it's so educational to know all these things. And when people go away, the reason why they dropped their last name and they picked up another name is because there's so much people in the boat with the same name, and all kind of history behind so much things. And I find it very worrying that when you ask someone in their teenage years just a random question about Cayman, they don't know. They go into Google, they try to find it.
Yeah. That is so revealing. Yes, caller.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I listen to the show, try to listen to the show every day. I must say that I wish more people would actually listen to Radio Cayman, because it's just hearing it. I mean, then again, not everyone can do that being at work, but it's really a breath of fresh air sometimes to hear people call in and speak about certain things, and then it's kind of disheartening too to hear from Monday till I guess yesterday, and the year just started, people sound so angry, and that gets me, you know, that it hurts, because I'm a Cayman and I hear so much people like this sound like they're struggling, you know, and that's very worrying to hear so early in the year, and so much people calling in so frustrated. And, you know, I kind of, you know, I love this place daily, and I really worry, and I hope that the new government or anybody that can, you know, I think we need to put aside all the differences we have, because I feel like we are our worst enemies as in Caymanians. Like, I feel like we try to one up another family, or try to one up somebody else just to keep them down, to say, yeah, well, I did this, instead of actually trying to help everybody. And I feel like it's a generational thing from way back, where this farmer didn't get along, and then you get into politics and say, well, I'm not dealing with him or her because I had this issue from my grandfather and great-grandfather. I think we need to drop all that, because we just hurting each other, and then the foreigners coming in, and they're laughing at us, and they're taking advantage of it, and then, you know, we working with them and not helping each other. And it just to hear people call in, the older people, everybody sounds so frustrated, and a lot of times and you hear about the Caymanians not coming back here, they're staying overseas, because you can't live here. I mean, honestly, when you look at the real estate, like, which middle class person that can come back here and buy a house? I mean, a house starting at $500,000, a 3-bedroom, like, and a piece of land is $200 now, 190, like, like who they catering to, and not the locals.
Yes.
It just, yeah, gentlemen, I just had to share that piece.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you very much. Yes. We want to provide this platform for people like you to
express
themselves. And that is how the policymakers will know exactly what people are thinking, as well, if they're listening. We still have 2 callers on hold. Let's grab the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Corner.
Good morning.
And Happy New Year to you, Dr. Steve.
Good morning, ma'am, and Happy New Year to you, too.
Okay. And I just wanted to touch on, I think she was the last female caller, the one that said she called for the first time. I just wanted to make sure I got in the order right. Anyway, I just want to say to her that for her first time, congratulations, and I would encourage her to continue calling. She's well-spoken, she sounds to be well-informed, and I think she's on the right track as far as what she's trying to pass on or at least introduce to her children. And just to say, I am a history buff myself, and Dr. Steve and I have something in common. He might actually got 2 things in common. He might know what they are, but, we have that fantastic memory, and we're both collectors of elephants. Anyway, I don't know where his passion for them came from. I don't know if it's the same as mine. But, again, to that caller, she was so eloquent. And, I would like to encourage her and any others to just keep calling in. I can certainly say that I listen to you, OC, and I especially love, not taking anything from you, I especially love when Dr. Steve comes on because I always learn something. And as far as, the history and so on, I encourage everyone to read Mr. Orme's book, read Dr. Roy's books, and I said if you ever get the opportunity to speak to Dr. Steve, I said make sure you have a little pad and pen because you're going to need to write it down because some people don't remember everything, but at least if you jot notes down. And I can say for me, I have an uncle who went to sea all his life, and it was a great pleasure for me to just sit and talk to him. And it's funny because I didn't learn till I think it was in 2014 that he was on that majestic tragedy, well, one of the survivors, now the only living survivor of that tragedy. And that little teenage boy that people refer to, that is him. And I'm so happy I took the time out to sit down and talk to him. And of course I made notes, and I'm glad I did it then because I can't do it now. And, while that's education I will never, ever forget. And I'm passing that on to my daughter and also to my grandchildren because to me it's important. And I also agree, and I've said this many times, I've always said it about Mr. Orman's book since he had published one first. That book needs to be in our schools. And I do not understand why, with all of the education ministers that we have had, that no one has seen it necessary to have our history taught to our children. And it really needs to be done. I don't know where we start to get it done, but it has to be done. And on one last thing, Dr. Steve, I endorsed what I think it was that lady that said that your work has to be published. It has to be. And maybe your children will know and your grandchildren. It will be appreciated. So I just want to leave you with that. Please keep
Thank you, ma'am. But just before you go, I was at I was at Lord Graham's place one couple of Fridays ago, and a conversation came up about Christmas, and I was trying to my Christmas experience, and I was saying, I was rivalry with Cheryl. Remember Cheryl Sharkey?
Yeah, Cheryl Whitaker.
Cheryl Whitaker and Edmund Seymour. We collecting bottles to clean them to sell them. They used to sell them at. We used to sell them at $1 a dozen.
But was that the D&G soft drink bottle?
Bottles.
No, that was D&G wasn't here then.
No, they weren't here then. They were local.
Okay.
And they would send them off to Jamaica to get them for refill. And so we decided that's not good. We all got together. We all got together and we start collecting bottles together. And we had a big old bathtub down at Cheryl's aunt's house, Aunt Fanny's house on Granville Road. And we were cleaning the bottles there. And so we decided we didn't have enough money yet. We had just gotten to the age where we could go to the dance at Boxing Day. And we needed to get more money. So we decided to go down to see if we can get a job now downtown. Or out on the bay, we call it. And the first stop we stopped was the Marians, and we went to the warehouse, and they wasn't hiring there. We went to Mr. Esler Tibbetts, and he had already cleaned up the trucks and stuff.
That's right. Public Works.
Public Works. And then we said we would go. Mr. El Romero said we could come back because the Merco was late. She had perishables on board, and she was getting in around 7 o'clock that evening, and they had to take the perishables off, apples and grapes and stuff, to save as much as they could save, so that they, could have apples and grapes for Christmas. So we went back down there, and sure enough, the Merco came around 7 o'clock. They put us to work behind the store. They had a generator. There was no electricity then. Had generator, and we were behind there with scissors cutting off the old rotten grapes, and with sharp knife cutting off the rotten apples.
Because the Merco wasn't refrigerated.
No,
there was no such thing as refrigerated trailers and stuff like that in those days.
And the apples came in boxes wrapped in paper.
Yeah.
And so forth. And after we finished around 7 or 8 o'clock the next morning, when the shop opened, we were still working.
Wow.
Getting the apples, finishing up. And I was telling the story. Now, this is the crux of the story. So there were certain families, certain members from that family there. And I was saying he lined us. Well, he didn't. He called us all together. Boys, we're finished now. And Douglas, there was a guy called Douglas from Boilers.
Mr. Douglas Solomon.
Solomon, he was there. He was like a foreman. And he used to have all this old cheese from Jamaica on the counter. No refrigerated. And they used to have a cover over it with
screen.
With screen, so the flies couldn't get to it, but it would melt. And they had a scoop. They would scoop the melting part off and sell that to you too. So we all was there, and this is the crux I was getting. So, and he said to me, "Uncolored boys, how much you gonna think on a worth?"
Oh my!
And we had to say, "We don't know, sir," because we couldn't tell him a figure. Because if we told him a figure, he would not hire us again. And it went on where they gave us something like 10 shillings and 6 pence for the night work, and some biscuits and some of the old cheese and so forth. And the fact that
probably the spoiled apples, cut the spoiled part off and give it to you.
So the fact that I was saying that uncolored boys, how much I think on a worth, and he was saying, well, yeah, I said that's how it was. That is how it was.
Yep. Doc, got to go to a commercial break, and we still have one caller left. Caller, thank you. Thank you very much. Paul, so we're going to grab the commercial, and then we're going to make the caller that is on hold now the last caller, because there are a few things that we need to cover here as well. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
I work hard each day. I'm a mother, sister-in, daughter, wife, cook, and everything in between. I know that no matter what, I have to be the woman I need to be. And that's why I choose Curves for that time of the month. When the pressure is on, I know I can rely on Curves sanitary napkins to keep me dry and comfortable all day and night. Affordable and available in cotton or silk. With Curves, I can be the woman I need to be all the time.
Strong, resilient, beautiful. Be the woman. Curves.
Is your child between the ages of 6 and 11 years and you find their behaviors challenging at home, school, and in the community? SNAP, which stands for Stop Now and Plan, is a proven model that teaches children struggling with behavioral problems and their parents how to make better choices in the moment and learn how to keep problems small. This program is comprehensive, serving up to 7 families over 13 weeks. Contact Family Resource Center at frc@gov.ky to access this free program.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We're on the last leg of the show this morning. Our last caller on hold as well. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Thanks for being so patient.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Happy New Year to you, OC. Happy New Year to you, Steve.
Thank you very much.
Happy New
Same
Year
to you.
You guys is in my arena, so I'd say, I call it. I'm going to start with the first one, Joe. Steve, you start about I was going through my old trade paper that I decided make that be something for me for this year, and I saw where I was firing in Brandon had this big fight and we Brandon suing for £25
Yep. Yes.
And then he get out, and then the case was there too, and he had to pay £100.
Yes.
Case.
Yes.
That was you know. And then yes, and I got touch about quick time with the Maryland. My first job was when the Maryland got the Merco come in, and we were clean. They got us young boys to come and clean up the spiled potatoes from amongst the other ones. We had to sit behind the whole day cleaning up.
Yes.
Every guest, each one of us a couple some potatoes to take home. That was our payment.
Wow.
Yes.
But those days, that was big because we went down with Mr. Arthur, and he bought a big piece of the bologna sausage, and my mother cooked bologna sausage in our potatoes. That was a big dinner.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. No, yeah. And then and about Christmas, I tell you what Christmas now. My church just had a Christmas with today and way back, and I was in there talking about the old time days, just like how we talk about now. Do you know that some of our children, when I get through, and a lot of people in our church come say they have learned so much about Cayman Christmas.
Yeah.
One thing that some of our children did, our young people didn't know that we had a just stop behind the old town hall where we go to water. That was a big place where everybody used to socialize. So everybody go and pump water for each other, pump water and go home with the water.
And they had one behind the library as well.
Behind the town hall too.
As well too.
Town hall and library, yeah.
But the town hall was the main one.
And sometimes, Brenda Barnes, you had to pay 6 pence a bucket for it.
Yes. Yeah. But see, you know, I call it. So I was going through the paper and I saw where, because he getting into the political arena now, and I saw where on the Holder in Bucklebush, this was 1967, and they was into the town hall where they used to have the meeting, and the rest of them had agreed for this new constitution law that they wanted to make for the island, but those two decided they wasn't doing it. And the politicians today forget that we hire them like how. You know what those two did? They went in like a state, like a kind of state. They say you all are currently. That's how they put it. Invited to a meeting at the town hall at 5:30 a.m. So because we did not agree for it, but we coming to you, the people, to tell us whether you agree for it or not, and we will go back and decide what you people want us to do. They didn't tell us. They didn't say, well, we just didn't do it because you didn't do it. They asked the people.
Yes.
They asked the people. They come to the people and say, this is what we did not approve of it, but we'd want to hear what you say. You know? So I wish that the politicians today would realize that they could do that.
Yes.
Come to a people and say, listen, this is what's going on.
Yes, because it's the people's job, you know, Rennie. It's the people's job. It's not their own job, you know.
It's not their own job.
Then they're not working for themselves. They're working for the people.
Yeah.
You know, and Miss Allen Bucklebush said, we did not agree with it, but we won't find out what you say. That's what you say. You know, but, you know, but it's so much tea that I tell you, I have seen so much tea in these newspapers now that...
Now you see why I call it my Bible, right?
You know, one part I see too, Sue, where they say Mr. Godfrey was missing. And when they find him in West Bay, all the way from Georgetown in West Bay.
Yes.
I also saw in 1967 where a group of delicate people went to Jamaica to the Queen to represent Cayman. This Roland Guzman, first time, 19 years of age, walk with trade wind. They sent him off there to come out with a royal picture. And we got so much history about our people in Cayman that they just hide away. Because those days they give you all the news, all the Cayman Brat news, all the West Bay news, all the Savannah Bonton, everything was in that.
Everybody who was coming going away, everybody who was leaving.
Every baby that born, everybody that died, that you know, I read a little actor. I saw where they say they had this big actor with Del Seymour, Simon Godfrey. And the one who's to make all the boats, so he wasn't even getting Steel.
Lionel,
sorry.
Yes, Lionel.
We were just talking about him.
Yes.
They can't flip over right in front, right by the governor. How the governor was saying, she saw everything.
Well, Rennie, and on the 6th of January 1966, another Caymanian icon, Nurse Clara, that delivered so many babies and stuff like that. January the 6th, 1966, in that publication, they talk about Nurse Clara's house being removed now over children's graves. And Cuthbert Borden had given Miss Clara, when her first house had burnt down, he had given Miss Clara a piece of land that she could stay on for the rest of her life. Unfortunately, Mr. Lawrence Thompson then purchased that property, and that's where his first hardware store went.
And is on now.
Yes, and Miss Clara had to be displaced from there and moved elsewhere. And that was the 6th of January, 1966.
I used to run up to school on that. I see where Lawrence Thompson, they opened the first building in 1960 something, the first Thompson building, right?
And the governor,
That was the first big building in Georgetown.
Exactly.
Story,
Exactly.
Renford.
Big building in Georgetown.
Thank you very much.
So when are you going to have your first meeting? For January?
No, not till February. Because of the holidays, and everybody want to jump around. In the first Saturday in February, we're gonna get together and have our little social as usual.
Looking forward to it. Renford, you have a great. I know a lot of people don't recognize you by that name, Renford Barnes, also known as Rennie.
You know what? One time I tell you on the Rennie no more. So I went to this quick one. I went somewhere in some government plane. They say, Mr. Ren, I know you, but you still got sign for you. You didn't know you by Renford. You're not sure, and you know what you want to prove where you came. And I got to tell you what, my great grandfather, they all down by Dixie's. My father, my grandfather, my grandmother, Lemuel McField, and all them done by Dixie. So I say I like the yam. And every time you break me off, I get a sprout. I'm a real Cayman. I say I don't know plants actually. They look at me over and say, yeah. I say that's my term. Like the yam. Because with yam, anytime you break leaf pieces in the ground,
it's sprout right back
that's
up.
Me. That's my Cayman startup.
All right.
Guys, have a good day.
You too. Thanks for calling in as well.
Thank you.
So one of our listeners, Doc, said, don't you think it would be helpful for voters to know the experiences and academic qualifications of those aspiring to represent us as members of Parliament? Maybe on a later OC program, highlights of these experiences and qualifications. And we're going to be talking a lot more.
Sure, we should have the biography.
Yeah, we're going to be talking a lot more. I shared with you the election program, and we will have more of that as well. There are other things that we want to talk about. Yesterday, again, I'm coming back to Ms. Teresa and Catherine Miller on the show. We still have to have this discussion about this one person, one vote dilemma, because I believe that a lot of people still equate the one person, one vote with single member constituencies. And they need to recognize that you can have one and not the other. One is not dependent upon the other. We need to start to look forward and talk about at-large districts. What people have to understand is, and I can say this with authority because I will stand on my 2 feet, we're not going back to the days when one district you have 5 votes, and another district you have 3, and another district you have 2, and another district you have 1. We in this day and age, we're not going back to that. We can't go back there. But we need to look at other alternatives, at-large districts, whether or not it could be island-wide, or whether or not, again, we shrink those constituencies that we have, those 19 constituencies, bring them back into bigger ones, and then you can have at-large for Georgetown, at-large for West Bay, or whatever. And the other thing that I want to end with, Doc, is I would advise people, and the young lady who called in, that she's a constitutional, have an interest in Constitution. Turks and Caicos just had an amended, their Constitution amended, because at one point in time, their Constitution had been suspended, and they were under administration by the United Kingdom. And as a result of that, they're now, back in good state with the UK. One of the things, and this one you would recognize really easily, Doc, and it has to do with the dilemma that we found ourselves in with the Tara Rivers situation, right? And in the amendment to their constitution, I need to find it very quickly. And I had it before, but they made it quite clear. Yes, here it is. And this is important because I think we need to remove that the inconsistency and bring some clarity to qualifications, because there are a lot of people who believe that the Smelly decision was a wrong decision.
Every judge that everybody from West Indies and the other courts that contact me say it's a wrong decision.
Yeah. Now here's what the Turks and Caicos Islands put in their amended constitution. For the purposes of subsection 1A, a person who automatically acquires or has acquired nationality other than British nationality, including by way of birth or descent, shall not be considered to have done so by virtue of his or her own act. Now, if you want clarity, there is clarity.
Yes, there it is.
Ours has a cloud in it.
Yes.
But there is clarity there in relation to that. And those are the things that we need to look at, because they have also increased their elected representation to 19, I believe, somewhere around there. They have increased their cabinet to 9 members, as well. And they have increased the term of office from 4 years to 5 years. That is something that we need to consider. If we are placing all of these demands on our elected representatives and say we want this done and we want that done, we have to think, is 4 years? Are 4 years enough for it to be done?
No, I don't think so.
Maybe we should be looking at 5 years.
Yes, 5 years.
You know.
And we need to clarify Section 6.2 of our Constitution, the disqualification section.
Mhm,
We need to clarify that, like Turks and Caicos has done too.
Yeah. Well, Doc, I'm looking forward, and based on what we're hearing out there, everyone's looking forward to more conversations like this.
Yes.
Between now and the 30th of April, you will certainly hear more as well, because our aim here is really to educate you, to make you aware of what is going on, to make suggestions to you. And what I will say on closing, when those potential candidates out there, and come the, what date in March is it again, the 3rd of March?
The 3rd of March.
March nomination day, when they actually officially become candidates, when they tell you what they propose to do, don't just settle for that. You have to ask them how they are going to do it.
How they're going to accomplish those things that they say.
Because a promise
is a fool.
Is a comfort to a fool. Don't be foolish.
Yes.
Ask them how. Put them on the spot. Tell me how you're going to do it.
When you say you're going to make you're gonna revive the Cayman middle class, how you are going to do that?
Yes. And with whom?
With whom? And how you're going to do that with people making $4.50 and $6 an hour?
Yes. So, Doc, we look forward to more of this. I want to encourage our listeners to continue to support Radio Cayman, the People's Radio Station. Join Sterling, Dwayne Ebanks at 12:15 for Talk Today. Friday, we will have members from Hazard Management Cayman and others in the studio talking about this joint exercise that's taking place with the Jamaica Defense Force as well. Have a great day, and as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury, and JN Money. From abroad to yard. Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop